Hello and welcome to another AIC video. So I wanted to do a follow-up on my Elitebook. I'm quite surprised at how well the previous video did. I was not expecting that kind of response. So thank you for everybody who watched it, and hopefully I can answer some questions that people had with this next video. One thing that I got a number of comments on is watch out for spicy batteries. This is the battery that is on this laptop. It's completely flat and dead, so I am not even using it in the laptop. I'll keep it around just to have it. But the thing with these kind of batteries is they have physical cells that have a metal casing on them. And unlike a lot of like cell phone batteries and like MacBook batteries, things like that, they do not have the same expanding issue that the pillow type batteries have. And so I'm not worried about a spicy battery with this so much. Also, being that it's dead and it cannot take a charge, a lot of danger in those is that when they have a charge in them, they're far more dangerous and more likely to explode than if they can't even take a charge. Now, there's a good chance that these leak, but I do live in a place that's very dry and very temperate climate, so that chance is actually quite low for me. I would like to replace this battery, but it's hard to justify the cost just because this isn't going to be a main system for me, and so it'd be very seldomly used on battery. That's just one of those things. Now, as far as upgrades to this laptop, I have done 2 upgrades to it. The first thing I did is I did go ahead and replace the hard drive with an SSD. Now this is new enough, being a Core 2 Duo, that it has a SATA drive on here, which is really nice because I could just plop in a modern 3.5-inch SSD without any adapters or worries or anything like that. They just go right in and work perfect. I'll show you that here in a moment. And I went ahead and upgraded the CPU. I'd bought a T9900 for a previous project, and so I replaced, this is the P8600. So I replaced this with the T9900 just to see if it worked, and it works great. And it was fairly easy to do, and I'll show you that process here now. Now, as far as the hard drive goes, replacing that's pretty easy, just 2 screws here. I'll go ahead and undo those just to show you. And these are captive screws, which is really nice. That's one of the best things about business class laptops is most of them have had captive screws. So when you're disassembling stuff, you don't have to worry so much about losing the screws. So there's the hard drive, which is now an SSD. And just 1 more screw here, and then 4 screws for the caddy. This laptop has 2 memory slots. One is under here, the other one's under the keyboard. I'll show you that here in a moment. Now, I thought about upgrading the RAM on this. Because it only has 4 gigs. But to be honest, after I thought about it for a second, I'm like, oh, it's running 32-bit Windows. I don't need more than 4 gigs of RAM. I also didn't want to spend money on buying more RAM, so I didn't. So that was just a decision I made because it can't really use more than the 4 gigs anyways, even though it only shows 3 available. We'll install some stuff here to see where the other gig is being used at. So there are 3 screws for the keyboard that you need to remove if you're going to open up the keyboard. And again, they're captive and held in by a spring retention. Sorry, I'm doing this around the camera so you can see. All right, there's the 3 screws that you need to loosen to remove the keyboard. Now, there are 4 clips at the top of the keyboard. And then it should lift out. Now, mine was a little stuck here on this right-hand side, which I probably need to get something to Pull that side out again. Oh, come on. Yeah, let me go get a pry tool, just a second. All right, so I grabbed the pry tool, I ran it across the top there, and then kind of wiggled it out. And you kind of have to lift towards the screen a little bit because there's some clips here on the side that really like to hold on, and then there's some tabs at the bottom that are in place. All right, once you get the tabs off the sides released, then this flips up and you have two cords here. You have one for the keyboard, one for the track point, and here's your other RAM slot, and here is your cooler for your CPU. It is socketed. You can see the little thing here for the flathead screwdriver to go in to twist to unlock it. Now, I was not able to get this heat pipe out very far, but by loosening the 4 screws, I was able to lift it up just enough to unlock the old CPU, get a Q-tip under there to clear out the old thermal grease or thermal paste, and then I put thermal paste on the new CPU, slid it in, and screwed it down, just barely enough room to do that. The other thing I did while I was in here is I did go ahead and replace the battery because the old one is toast. The plug for the old one, which is here, is a 3-prong connector. I bought a bunch of these really cheap on eBay a couple years ago, but they just had a 2-prong. So what I did is I just snipped this off the new one and snipped the old one off, and I just twist them together, a little electrical tape, called it good. I'm not going to bother buying the correct battery at this time, simply because, again, I just don't know how much I'm going to use this laptop and how much I want to invest into this system at this time. If I do end up using this system more down the road, I might do that. I might go ahead and invest in a proper battery. All right. To get the keyboard back on, you just clip it into place, slide these guys up. There we go. And that's all there is to it. Getting it out is a bit hairy just because you feel like you might be breaking something. You're not. It's just really, you don't want to yank up on it because you'll break the wires underneath, but along the sides here, it can be pretty stuck there. Let's go ahead and boot it up and we'll install some software on here. All right, so we got booted up. Have some software to install here. Throw in a USB drive. Left the restore disk in the drive, looks like. Okay, so I have on here CPU-Z. All right, you can see if I scroll in here a little bit. We've got the T9900 running at 3.06 gigahertz. The main board, it's Hewlett-Packard, obviously. Memory, 4 gigabytes, recognizing it here. Graphics, showing 128 megabytes. DDR2, PC, 6400 memory. All right, close that. And then oh, that's not going to work. I thought that was a valid 32. I was going to set up a game here. Actually, my pal. See if we can connect to Wi-Fi. Zoom back out here a little bit. So my pal is a HTML5 browser for Windows XP. This is the experimental version. See if it works here. Come on. Okay. Can mute just so I don't get a copyright strike. It actually loaded pretty darn quick. Scrolling's pretty decent. Loading more stuff pretty quick. Let's go ahead. I'll just load a random video. Ads load pretty quick, of course. Full screen that. Bump that up to 720. As far as like a YouTube experience goes, that is actually significantly better than I was expecting. So let me go ahead and get the benchmark software that will work for this, and we'll do some benchmarking on it. All right, so neither of the normal benchmark tests I use are working. This gives me a Win32 application, and this gives me a floating point division by 0 error. So not going to try that, but we'll go ahead and install a game. I downloaded or bought this from GOG, Fallout. So I haven't actually played Fallout, the original Fallout, before. So we'll get this installed and come back and see how it runs. I was hoping to do a benchmark just to kind of get an idea. Obviously, these are older benchmarks, and so not as applicable as they could be. But I love GOG. I have a ton of games I've purchased through them, and they work pretty good on different versions of Windows. And so yeah, so we'll get this installed here, and we'll be back in just a moment. All right, it was successfully installed, so we're going to go ahead and click launch. What's this? That's just okay. That's fine. Go ahead, hit play. Let's go to screen settings. That's our native setting. 32-bit color. Done. New game.
You're here. Good.
Nope. So that crashed out when I tried to change volume. Let me try that again. Sorry, I just didn't want to be blasting your eardrums with play. Huh, well, looks like it doesn't want to work. I do have Warcraft 2 on here as well, so we can try that. See if that works any better. Oh, it sees it is still running, so let me end that task. Oh.
We've got a problem. A big one. controller chip for our water.
Okay. Don't send. Alright, so setup is installing that. So let's go ahead and try running Fallout again. I didn't realize it was still running in the background.
You're here. Good. We've got a problem. A big one. The controller chip for our water purification system has given up the ghost. Can't make another one, and the process is too complicated for a workaround system.
Nope.
Simply put, we're running out of drinking water. No water, no vault. This is crucial to our survival. And frankly, I think you're the only hope we have. You need to go find us another controller chip. We estimate we have 4 to 5 months before the vault runs out of water. We need that chip. We marked your map with the location.
Okay. So is that rat going to attack me? I think it might. So, anyways, that's the game. Well, I think that's pretty playable. Obviously, it's a much older game, but that's kind of what you use this for. Exit game. Let's see. Exit. Go ahead and Warcraft 2.
At your service, my lord. At once, sire.
Yes, my lord.
Anyways, playing with the soundbar.
Yes. At your service, my lord. Yes. Make up your mind.
Okay. But yeah, if you're wanting to play some of the
As you wish. Your orders.
older games, definitely very
At once,
doable.
sire. At once, sire.
So there's that. Plays pretty well. Menu. Exit program. So yeah, there we go. Got some Fallout on there. Got some Warcraft 2 on there. Definitely will be spending some time playing some of those games. Going to be doing some other things on here, just to kind of screw around and see what we got going. If you have any other further questions, thoughts, comments, definitely leave that down in the comment section down below. I'll do my best to answer. Thank you for watching. Hope you have an amazing day.